All right, am I live yet? Jesus. So, I mentioned this before, but I'm getting really increasingly frustrated with the comments on my YouTube videos lately. It's being totally overrun with, well, not totally, but pretty fucking close to it. Totally overrun with goddamn conspiracy theorists, people just saying just absurd shit that doesn't even mesh with reality. The people that are saying this shit on my channel are unwilling to get in voice chat and hash it out with me. So these conspiracy theorist assholes have no problem writing book after book after book about their stupid bullshit, and they won't get in voice chat and discuss it. That's why I don't take these guys seriously. I mean, all these people, who the fuck are they? This Debbie is anti-science, yet she doesn't realize she's on the internet because of science. Because of Maxwell and his equations. She doesn't... What the fuck is with these people? And lately, it's the thing about the ladder. Everybody thinks that that fucking ladder is the cause of the black line on the back of the van when it's actually the doors being open. It's like, oh God, I look like that Jackie Chan meme, man. Oh. Conspiracy theorists are fucking annoying to me because they're just so gutless. They can't defend the shit they type in voice chat. This is the internet. We've got Skype and Mumble and TeamSpeak and all these ways to communicate. But these retards, fucking retards, can't even figure out how to get in voice chat, so they just type all their stupid shit. You know, I don't like censorship. I really fucking hate it. But if you're going to type all that shit and you're not willing to get in voice chat, then I'm going to delete your crap. I don't like to do it, but if you're not going to stand behind the shit you type, I'm going to flush you like a turd. On a lighter note of conspiracy theorists, there is a character on the Phil Hendry show named Jeff Dowder. He's a big stoner who calls the show up all the time with his conspiracy theorists. But I like him because he's funny. And when I think of conspiracy theorists, luckily I think of Jeff Dowder, and I don't take them seriously for the most part. I think they're dumb, but I think Jeff Dowder's take on conspiracies and shit are a lot funnier than these boring losers. So I'm going to play one having to do with Jeff Dowder talking about that the Space Shuttle Columbia crew detonated the space shuttle themselves. Here we go.
One 1-800-449-8686. Now, Phil Hendry.
Jeff Dowder is a intern at the Caltech, California Institute of Technology. He also is interning over at JPL, and he joins us. Jeff, we want to talk about the space shuttle, and we want to talk about what you know, what you have found out from your sources concerning NASA, and what caused the Columbia to break apart like that. What have you found out now? And we're a little bit. It's kind of late in the day, but what have you found out now that you could point to as possibly concrete evidence?
Well, Phil, my sources tell me that NASA right now is scrambling at this hour to come up with an excuse for why the space shuttle disintegrated on approach, because my sources also tell me NASA is covering up what they already know is the reason. And let me repeat that they already know what is the reason. And if this information got out, they'd have a hard time getting funding for future projects. You know that President Bush is very pro-space and definitely wants money committed for the space program from Congress. There's every likelihood that would not happen if this news got out.
Jeff, you gave me some detail. I want you to give me all the details, okay?
All right, from what I understand, my sources tell me that the Space Shuttle Columbia, at an elevation of 207,000 feet and change, I forget the exact figure, Phil, traveling at a speed in excess of 21,000 miles an hour, which is 18 times the speed of light. At that rate, my sources tell me that it's possible NASA calculated the shuttle was coming in too hot and at too shallow an angle. Now, they knew they were going to undershoot the runway at the Cape coming in at that angle.
All right, so they had figured that they were not going to hit the runway at the Cape. They're going to come in short.
That is correct. They were worried that possibly they'd come down somewhere in the metropolitan Orlando, Florida area, which was an acceptable risk, but they also were afraid that a Disney World is in the Orlando area, and that would be a lot worse, and a lot of people, obviously tourists, would be in its path. My sources tell me that the crew decided to use a contingency that is available to them, but has never been used in the history of American spaceflight, and that is to activate the onboard computer, which is codenamed Mother, and that time activate the auto-destruct, which would then essentially self-destruct the shuttle.
Okay, you understand what you're saying.
The source that I talked to claims to be highly placed.
You're saying they essentially blew themselves up in order to avoid civilian casualties from the shuttle undershooting the runway.
That is correct, and NASA has been engaging in the last 5-6 days in looking around for a good excuse. And so far, you saw the headline today, the mystery deepens. They're not coming up with anything that anybody's buying. First they said, well, it was a heat tile. Someone said, well, that's not cool because no rubber sponge thing's going to make a dent in it like that. Then they said it was something else.
Look, at 207,000 feet and across the country, how did they know that they would undershoot the runway?
Well, the onboard mother computer tells them, and at that point they realize they're basically toast. I mean, at that point, that
maybe we could use another word, you know.
I'm sorry, forgive me, but I mean they realize that they're basically when the computer tells them they're undershooting the runway, they realize that they are not going to make the runway. The shuttle is not like an aeroplane. You can't go back around and try another approach. You got to hit it the first time.
I understand.
So at that point, they have to decide where the best place is to blow the ship up so that the debris won't damage anything valuable. And this has been, and it's no disrespect to the Texas people, but they decided, A, it should not be California because of the industry and obviously the high concentration of peoples. B, certainly not Florida, again, because of population concentration. Texas represented the broadest area and the area with the least amount of anything really important that's going on, so they activated auto-destruct, and that was off the mother computer.
Can you tell me who you're... So they auto-destructed the shuttle over Texas?
Yes, sir.
On purpose?
That's what my sources tell me, yes, sir.
We're talking with Jeff Dowder. He, excuse me, he is reporting from Pasadena, California today. That's where JPL is located in Caltech. He is saying that the shuttle blew up on purpose, that there's an auto-destruct, that it's possible it's an auto-destruct, right, Jeff?
No, there is, but I'm saying it's a possibility that the pilots, the crew themselves, activated the auto-destruct.
Because they were undershooting the runway at the Cape, and they didn't want to crash into Orlando or anything like that, so they blew the ship up, essentially.
Essentially, that's what they did. And
can you tell me who your sources are inside NASA or JPL or Caltech?
I have to protect my sources, but I can tell you there are very significant people, and they're inside because that's a journalistic ethic. I can't tell you my sources. A lot of people remember Watergate. You never betray a source. But I will tell you one of them is Toby Bowe, and he saw some papers that do indicate that the mother computer advised him to activate the blow-up button.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. We're talking to Jeff Dowder, and where he is in Pasadena saying that the shuttle was blown up. It didn't disintegrate. It was an auto-destruct that was activated by the crew, and this was because they were undershooting the runway. Does anybody give any real credence to this?
Well, I think they should, Phil, because the shuttle does have auto-destruct, and they were undershooting the runway. It is a possibility that NASA doesn't want to talk about because they're going to have more people second-guessing them, more people, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, why would the astronauts do that? That's crazy. Suicide's a sin, or some other stupid comment. The astronauts did it because they were great people and because they didn't want to blow up Orlando or, crash into Disneyland or whatever's over there. They wanted to make sure that no civilian casualties took place. So while I'm saying that, yeah, there's a possibility that that did not happen, I'm saying it is, why not? Because they haven't come up with anything else. That's what I'm saying.
Well, okay, so your sources are saying, why not? Because they have
not come up with no other answer, and that's a very good answer. I realize I'm talking, one of the things you have to understand, Phil, this is scientific, and most of your listeners are not going to understand it. It's very technical data, And a lot of listeners are just going to have to sit back and just kind of take it in and learn a little bit about how the space program works. I've been around the space program now about 7 years, and I've seen everything from, I seen the one time the Mir space station disintegrated, and I've seen a lot of stuff. So the space program is something that the average person that's listening to your show right now, they don't have two clues about. But if they listen carefully, I can teach them about how NASA was desperately trying to keep the space program afloat, and if the shuttle took out Orlando or some town like that, the program may have been shut down, period. So they just...
And the idea that the astronauts had to blow up the shuttle in order for it not to crash into Florida would not get the funding from Congress?
Oh, no. I mean, you'd have all these people, I mean, like I say, these regular people in Congress just going ape crap about, swinging around like monkeys in a cage going, no, we can't give them no more money because look what happened. But I've been around the space program. I can tell you right now, it's very intense. You got to have balls of steel, but it's a great program.
All right, tell me, your source was Toby Bowe?
Toby, he saw some papers that indicate that the mother computer advised them to activate the blow-up button.
All right, this mother computer, you say it advised them.
That is correct. The thing is, the mother computer on a shuttle is a backup in case of human error. It reminds them not to do something or to do something. Every shuttle mission talks about the people, but the real mission head is the mother computer.
All right, with me is Jeff Dowder. He's presenting a story that sounds incredible. You're saying, Jeff, it is entirely possible that the shuttle crew blew up the shuttle themselves.
Absolutely.
To keep it from undershooting the runway and causing civilian death or damage.
That is correct. I think it's very plausible. I'm trying desperately. I've been on about 2 different radio shows, trying desperately for people to come to terms and try to explain it to listeners, because regular people who are not involved in the space program don't really get it about what we're doing. You have to have a lot of math and science background.
Well, I mean, the average person knows we're flying into space to try to learn more about space.
Well, yeah, I guess, but they don't know the math that's involved, the navigation that's involved. The average person listening to your show right now has a very difficult time understanding what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is this. The shuttle, when it was coming onto the Earth, they blew it up on purpose.
Well, you don't have to talk to them like they're idiots.
No, but you do, because most of your listeners are not going to get what I'm talking about. The shuttle, they blew it up on purpose. Otherwise, it was going to undershoot the runway and kill people.
All right. This mother computer, Jeff, that flies it.
Well, see, that's what I mean. I don't know if people understand how a computer. It's called the mother computer, MOTHERCOMPUTER, for you people listening out there. And the mother computer is what flies it, lands it, conducts the experiments, retrieves data, makes repairs and everything like that.
Well, what do the people do?
I'm sorry?
What does the crew do?
Generally, the crew will have a bag of carrot sticks, and they just walk around and take a look, make sure that all the lights are on and everything. Or they'll reboot if it gets jammed up, or turn switches off when they go to bed at night. But a lot of what I've been told by a lot of astronauts is they'll cut up some carrot sticks or some celery sticks and just munch them and just walk along and make sure that all the switches are in the on position. And sometimes they can load a game too. And
you can load a game in the mother computer?
Yeah, you can load Crazy Taxi or Myth 2, House of the Dead. But there really isn't a lot for the shuttle crew to do.
Jeff Dowder with us. Our number 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. The mother computer aboard the shuttle, it's entirely possible, advised the crew to auto-destruct the space shuttle so it wouldn't land or crash into Orlando.
Right, and again, I want to let people know what that means. Auto-destruct means that if there is a malfunction serious enough to hurt civilians on the ground, that means you push a button and you destroy the ship.
With the loss of all hands aboard.
That's correct. And what Phil means by all hands aboard is he means all the crew members. All the people in the spacesuits that you saw on TV, those are crew members. And those are the people that tragically would die But the good news is they would save your life. And auto-destruct, A-U-T-O, and the reason why we say auto is it means automatic. So if you think of the word automatic, then you know that it's automatically being destructed.
Jeff Dowder with us, 1-800-449-8686.
Could I spell mother computer again for your audience?
Go ahead.
Mother computer means it's the overall lead computer. There's a lot of smaller computers connected, but the mother computer controls all of the data. That's MOTHERCOMPUTER.
Now, I got to ask you again. Do you think my audience or any radio audience is so stupid that they don't understand how the shuttle works?
I've been, Mr. Henry, I've been on radio shows all week long, and people don't get it. They just don't get it. And I've had to explain to them how the shuttle takes off, how it flies around, you know, and what's in outer space. Most people don't know what's up in outer space. I tell them they want to know what those little white lights are. I say those are stars, you know. And
well, people aren't that stupid, are they?
Some people are, yeah. But again, I just want to let your listeners know that auto-destruct means that the people in the spacesuits who are what we call crew members, they also, unfortunately, would die. But they save the lives of other people from being hurt because the shuttle, when it blows up, all the pieces fall down and they might hit somebody. Again, all the pieces fall down and they might hit somebody. Okay? So I hope that helps people, Phil.
I appreciate it. 1-800, although I don't think you have to talk to people like they're completely stupid. You know?
You'd be surprised, Phil.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Jeff Dowder, whose theory is the shuttle crew blew the shuttle up on purpose because it was undershooting the runway and could cause damage on the ground. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show.
1-800-449-8686, the world-famous Phil Hendry Show. Show. 1-800-449-8686.
PRO.
I know how to spell propulsion, Mr. Dowder.
I'm sorry, but what I've dealt with, Mr. Henry, here over the last week and talking to radio audiences, trying to get them to understand what I'm talking about, is you do have to go slow because most people, while they do support the space program, are not familiar with how spaceships work or anything like that.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. But the bigger issue here is you believe the space shuttle crew auto-destroyed or auto-destructed or destroyed their ship on purpose because they were undershooting the runway and it may cause casualties on the ground.
Yes, sir, that is correct. That is a very high possibility, sir, that NASA does not want people to know.
1-800-449-8686. Nikki, go ahead.
Hi. You know what? I just have to tell you that you want people to listen to your intellectual point of view, but all you can do is tell me how to spell auto and tell me that the little men wear suits that go up in the Columbia spaceship. I mean, hello,
Okay,
God. Who's going to buy an intellectual argument from somebody who's going to tell me how to spell auto and tell me that the men in spaceships wear spacesuits?
Okay, look, you don't understand. What I'm trying
No, I understand
to say,
perfectly clear. You haven't made an intellectual argument at all.
what I'm trying to say is those people on board that ship they auto-destructed the ship. And
I'm not disputing that, but are you going to give me something more to go on than I don't understand what auto means?
No, I just want to be clear. You know what I mean by that.
I know exactly what you mean by that.
Okay, with all due respect, ma'am, you're a little undereducated when it comes to space. Okay? I mean, unless you're in the space program, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but...
Okay, I understand that. So if you want to educate me on the space program,
all right,
if you want to assume that I'm a somewhat functioning, common sense human being, then explaining it to me and insulting my intelligence that I don't know what auto means or how to spell auto, A-U-T-O, or that the men in spaceships wear space suits when they go up in the Columbia. The next thing you're going to tell me is that the motherboard is not a board game my mom taught me how to play.
Well, ma'am, some people didn't know. I didn't mean to offend you. Some people don't know what you're talking about when I talk about, okay? What I'm trying to say is the Space Shuttle Columbia was coming in very hot. And what that means is very fast. It was doing 21,000 miles per hour. That's 18 times the speed of sound. It was coming in at the wrong angle, which meant that it was going to undershoot the runway in Orlando, and on top of that, it's coming in hot, so it was going to be going too fast. The crew, which is the people who fly it, and those are the people who are in the spacesuits.
Tell me who the crew is.
Those are the people in the spacesuits.
I know, I got that.
Well, you just
Your
asked
message
me
was
who's
loud
the
and
crew.
clear on that. I wanted something a little bit more intellectual.
One of those people flies it. The rest of the people conduct experiments.
I understand that, too.
She gets that, the man who flies it.
I want something intellectual. That how do you know that that's the fact, that they were definitely not going to make the runway? I want something intellectual on that point.
Because first of all, we're talking about a space shuttle, not an airport shuttle.
I understand that.
Right, because there's a difference. And a lot of people, you should see the people I tell you.
Are you trying to tell me that people don't know the difference between a space shuttle and an airport shuttle?
Let me start from scratch.
No, please don't. I understand the scratch. What I want is an intellectual argument that how do you know what was going on in that computer? How do you know they were going to undershoot the runway?
Well,
I want something a little bit more foundational than what auto means and who the space guys are in the spacesuits.
I know because Toby Bowe, who was associated with people who worked at JPL, seen some papers. And I have my sources. I'm a journalist. I can't tell, otherwise I'll be thrown in jail.
No, you won't.
Well, I mean...
What are you, the CIA?
No, but I mean a journalist never exposes his sources, otherwise...
you just lose credibility and you may get fired, but you're not going to get thrown in jail.
Exactly.
Depending on your source, you might get, a hit on
But
it.
I'm talking about outer space. So it wasn't flying around the Earth like a plane. You understand that?
Fully. Man, I understood that in 5th grade.
All right, so it's coming in from outer space.
All right, look, thank you for your call. Hold on. 1-800-449-8686. Jeff Dowder says it's a possibility that the shuttle was auto-destructed by the crew so it wouldn't crash land in Florida. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show.
Phil Hendry Show. 1-800-449-8686.
The shuttle has headlights in case they run into a planet.
1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. We're talking with Jeff Dowder, who is Jeff is a reporter at JPL and at Caltech, and he has theorized, talking to people, that possibly the shuttle was blown up or destroyed by the crew because they were undershooting Cape Canaveral and may have caused damage on the ground. Let's go over to Howard. You're on the Phil Hendry Show, Howard.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this guy you got on here from Caltech don't know his head from his tail. I guarantee you that. Because, number one, space shuttle don't have a destruct system on it.
Well, how do you know?
Number two.
How do you know?
Number two.
How do you know?
Why do you think they call them astronauts and pilots? They fly the shuttle in.
No, they don't.
It comes in so far, autopilot kicks off, and the pilot flies.
That's right. Autopilot. That's a computer.
Right, but that comes in so far, and then the pilot takes over.
Yeah, and then he blew the ship up.
And this part about it coming in too short, don't you know it's like a hang glider, an aeroplane that's got flaps, rudders, and everything? They can bring it up and slow it down.
Hey, because it's a glider. It's a glider. They don't have enough engine to get all the way to Florida.
Oh yes, it's got a motor on it also.
No, it's got little tiny jets, but it does not have enough of an engine.
That's right, and they can bring the shuttle up enough to make it.
Okay.
Don't tell me that crap now.
So wait a second.
I know people down here in Tampa might
You're
believe
out of it, man. You're out of it. Because
people down here in Tampa might believe it, but if they do, I have 100 million acres of swamp land to set them up in Alabama.
Watching Star Trek, man, doesn't qualify you. There's no warp drive, I mean...
Don't insult the man.
No, I'm not trying to insult him, but I'm saying, first of all, when the mother computer...
And to tell me that everybody else sits around and eats carrot sticks?
What I'm saying...
And you were the one who said also, if my memory serves correct, that the computer does everything, that the pilot don't even fly the thing.
No, I didn't say
that earlier. Yes, it was. What you said earlier.
No, sir. I said in the
and then you contradicted yourself and says the pilot does some of the flying. You contradicted yourself there.
You did say that, Jeff.
No. I said they don't fly in outer space. And I've known astronauts that bring carrot sticks and celery sticks because there's nothing to do.
Oh, bull. They do a lot of work up there.
So the computer's doing most of it. They're taking naps.
What if something breaks down? What do they do?
The computer fixes it. The computer fixes it.
Oh, yeah, right. And if the computer goes down, the man has to fix it. Or at the case, the females could have fixed it also.
The computer.
Remember, there was 2 females on there.
Okay, what's that got to do with anything?
Either man or female fixes the problem.
The computer,
not the computer.
Is called the mother computer.
No. It's called a motherboard, not a mother computer.
Well,
a motherboard.
I'd like to know where you're getting your information. And the other
if anybody knows anything about computers, you have a motherboard, not a mother computer.
All right. Then the other thing is the computer flies it. The pilot pulls the auto destruct button.
No. The pilot switches the switch and kicks it off of autopilot so he can fly it.
Yeah,
and he's the one and he takes it so far, then autopilot takes it into land.
Yeah, but they weren't going to land anywhere near the Cape. They were shooting all the way into Orlando, and they were going to blow up Orlando. That's why they blew it up.
That's what you say.
Well, does NASA have another explanation? No. Do they know what they thought they knew, but they don't? And the mother computer...
Only thing you're trying to do is cause a big argument and try to get a lot of other people, like NASA, and people get to think that way to get them in trouble.
Do you know what NASA stands for?
Yeah, it has to do with space.
See, you don't. And this is what I'm talking about, Mr. Henry. It stands for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
That's right.
ADMI.
We know how to spell it.
All right. Which one of us is standing in front of JPL and which one of us is standing in a swamp swinging back wild turkeys? See?
I'm in neither one. I'm in Tampa. Where you at?
I'm standing in front of JPL Pasadena, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. You're saying I'm not?
Yeah, I'm saying you're not.
Well, you're wrong. I'm here.
You're probably sitting in front of your couch, sitting in your lounge chair with a big old gut, drinking a beer and watching TV.
I don't think so, man, if I'm on the phone with you.
All right, look. The argument here is that they auto-destruct...
Look, buddy, you're lucky you didn't get a mouthful of nose cone. You're living in Tampa.
All right. 1-800...
And another...
Both of you. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendry Show.
The Phil Hendry Show.
1-800-449-8686. And now more on The Phil Hendry Show.
I don't...
What?
We're back on the air, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing I was going to say, Phil, is the shuttle may be landing because I think there's a possibility...
Will you leave the bong alone for 5 seconds?
I'm sorry. There's a possibility that the shuttle was coming in so fast that it caused a bending or a ripping of the space-time continuum. Now, as a result, hold on, just one more, okay, man?
Go ahead.
Now, therefore, it'll land on Earth in the year 2041. Or it hit a wormhole and it...
Get out of here. It's all I need. That ought to be our little signature just break line. It's the Phil Hendry Show. We'll be right back. 1-800... It'll land back on Earth in 2043. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. Thanks for listening to the Phil Hendry Show. Listen to our website, too. You can listen to our website by going online and listening to our comedy archive, all of our long-form, short-form bits, the last 30 days' worth of shows. It's all there. By the way, it was just me doing the voice there of Jeff Dowder. And you can listen to all the stuff we do in our show in our 30-day archive. Get a backstage pass. It's only $6.95 a month. $6.95 a month, and all you have to do is go to philhendryshow.com, give us a credit card, it's yours, and, you know, you can cancel it any time you want. But the $6.95 a month, it doesn't get any better than that. I don't care what website you're visiting for radio audio anyway. Ours is the best. To order any of our Best of the Phil Hendry Show CDs, you can go to our souvenir shop. All of the money benefits My Friend's Place, which is a resource center for homeless and runaway kids in Hollywood, California. And we have raised close to $100,000 so far this year with the sale of the Phil Hendry Show CD.
Forget about whether it's right or wrong. You deserve top quality audio on the cutting edge. That's available now
at mycrappysite.com.
It's cool. It's fantastic. It doesn't come as a shock to me.
Are you in Cape Cod right now, Jeff?
We are in Cape Cod, Phil, near where a lot of these whales beach themselves. We came out from California yesterday because we were very concerned about these idiots that have been trying to push these whales back into the ocean. I mean, these people are absolute, utter idiots, only doing the whales more harm, only hurting the pods more harm. We came out here from California last night to basically send a message to the people around Cape Cod that they're idiots, and it's just a very frustrating situation right now.
Where there's been something like, I don't know how many whales have beached themselves over the last several days.
Somewhere in the neighborhood, Phil, of 49 is the count that we have.
All right, 49 whales have beached themselves. You're saying the people that are trying to get them back into the water are idiots?
Well, understand, I've followed whales. They've been a passion of mine for much of my life. Whales will distance themselves from the pod when they are defective or when they're not a part of the society any longer. These whales that are beaching themselves are what our society would call retarded. They are socially outcast, and so they are distanced by the pod. The pod will pick a course, for instance, a southerly course, and they will get the other whales, the ones that are beaching themselves, to go in a different direction. It's not unlike if we gave somebody false directions to get rid of them. And the pod is trying to get rid of these retarded whales. And these idiots that I've talked to more idiots in Massachusetts over the last day going, yeah, man, we're going to get the whales back in the water. Yeah, man. I'm like, you've got to be so stupid if you don't understand that these whales are retards or and again, I don't want to use that word.
Okay, well, if we don't want to use that word, would we say that they're just defective or they're social outcasts from the pod?
That is correct, and that's why they are beaching themselves. I say they're a whale version of a retard. In other words, they're whale retards, and they're doing natural selection. And that's what they're doing. They're doing natural selection. And I said to Toby Bowe, who's also come out to Massachusetts with me, because Toby studies whales too. He also works for Bolsa Chica Seal Beach in their beach services, emergency services department. And we were having dinner last night, and I said the irony of what's going on in Massachusetts right now is these retards are trying to push these whales back out in the ocean, and the whales are trying to push back out in the ocean are stupid too. So, you know, if I could quote Julius Caesar's commentaries, what he said to Brutus, it takes one to know one, and I think that's the situation we've got.
All right, Jeff Dowder is with us from Cape Cod, Massachusetts right now, where some 50 whales beached themselves, people whom you are calling idiots.
I don't mean to be cruel, but...
well, I think you are being cruel by calling them idiots. These are well-meaning people who are trying to save these whales.
Well, well-meaning. If they're well-meaning, then what we did is we flew out last night from California because we've got to get a lot of these people along the East Coast familiarized with what's going on. A lot of them don't know how this is done. There's a lot of dumbness on the beach these days, and you can almost smell the stupid when you walk the beaches of Cape Cod, Phil.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. So the people that are trying to get these whales back in the water are idiots. They ought to leave them to die.
They should leave them to die. These retarded whales, or if you will, socially outcast whales, have separated from the pod because they were so stupid that they can't even keep up with the pod of whales that is going south. So they're beached as a way of doing natural selection. What these idiots are doing in Massachusetts by trying to put the whales back in the water is nothing more than further humiliating the whales, and we're saying they ought to call it a day, quit being complete idiots, and quit making idiots out of the whales, putting blankets on them, and making them look even dumber with these blankets. They do the same retarded things that human retarded people do.
How does the pod know, if you're saying that these are retarded whales or defective whales, how does the pod know these whales are mentally challenged or damaged, if you will?
Well, it is similar to humans. The whale takes on the same look that a human does. The forehead is larger, the eyes are spread, they tend to be heavier, they tend to stop and do stupid stuff. I mean, I'll put it in human terms, they mess around with fish they're not supposed to, and they act like idiots. And
what is your background in the study of whales?
Well, I worked at Marineland in Palos Verdes as a bait hauler. I'm 20 credits shy of my associate arts degree in marine biology. The other thing that you have to understand too, Phil, yesterday I saw these idiots trying to roll a whale back in. 3 of them were cross-eyed, so that gives you an idea. I mean, they're just not. They also have a slack jaw look, slack flippered. And they swim south, most of the whales, to have babies, and then they go back to Alaska.
All right, Jeff. 1-800-449-8686 is the number. 1-800-449-8686. We're talking about the whales that beach themselves on the East Coast and the humans that were attempting to help them, which you call nothing more than complete idiots. And I would think that would hurt somebody's feeling.
Well, I need to explain something, Mr. Henry, because I've lived at the beach my whole life. I have seen whales. I lived 7 years in Malibu Canyon. Every winter I'd see the whales as they swam south. And one of the things to understand is most of the people in your listening audience live in the interior of the country. They've never been to the beach, and so they don't know what a whale is. And the best way to describe a whale is that it is a large fish, with one exception, which science is trying to figure out. It's a fish, but it breathes. And it has a hole that shoots water out of it, which they don't know what that's about. It breathes air, and it also shoots water out of a hole. So science is still studying the whale, and it is a fish. And the other thing that people who live in the interior of the country who've never been to the beach and don't know anything about whales should understand that whales are on the dangerous species list. And that means that there's a lot of countries that do, hunt them for flubber.
What you said, flubber? What is it called?
I'm sorry, it's called blubber.
All right, so a lot of countries hunt whales for their blubber, and it is a contentious point.
It is contentious between the United States, specifically Japan and Norway. And all we're trying to do is tell these morons in Massachusetts. See, we flew out from California late last night. It's kind of like nature's lawn sprinkler. It has that spout. And retarded people simply should not be trying to push retarded whales back in the ocean. We flew in from California late last night to tell people that and to let them know how the whale works, because a lot of them are not familiar with that.
All right. So you're in Cape Cod right now. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I'm with Toby Bowe, who is with me. And as I said last time, we were talking a lot about that.
All right. Now, these people are doing the best they can to help suffering animals. We should herald their efforts, should we not?
Well, I think it's a sad reality because of the distance from the ocean, as I said. Most of your listeners don't know. And a lot of these retards, and I don't mean to call them retards, but a lot of these people in Massachusetts don't know what's going on.
All right, let me talk to Marjorie. Marjorie, I know you're in New England right now.
Yes, I'm in Maine,
Go ahead.
I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say a couple of things. You don't know who you're talking to. He has no degree in marine biology.
I do now. I'm my associated arts degree.
Hi, guess what? On Cape Cod, this happens often. You have the National Institute of Oceanographic Studies at Woods Hole and the Boston Aquarium is known for rescuing whales. So you're talking about you're talking about a population in Massachusetts that has credentials and has knowledge of what to do.
Yeah.
I doubt that we're talking about a beachcomber finding a group of whales and deciding to do something. You're talking about a state where there's been some great, great oceanographic work.
Well, if they're so great, then how come the whales are turning right around and beaching themselves?
It's
These
very
whales
common.
are mentally defective.
It happens every year on the Cape.
Exactly. And these retards that are trying to push them back into the ocean don't know what they're doing.
Well, you know what? You ought to get in touch with the Boston Aquarium because they do a lot of whale work. And they are known for rescuing whales.
Can we get the Boston Aquarium on the line, and maybe we can do something with that?
I think you're going to find they're closed at this time, and I believe
they're closed.
The director was a Mr. Prescott. I'm not sure that he still is.
It's 8:15 right now, Mr. Henry, in the area that I'm at.
And I'm also suggesting, Mr. Henry, that you call the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and tell them who you are.
Hold on for a minute. Is this Dr. Stevens?
Yes, sir.
Doctor, are you an what are you?
I'm a marine biologist.
You're a marine biologist. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Marjorie?
I said you're in luck. Now you've got a marine biologist.
Okay, you're a marine biologist.
That is correct.
All right, Doug, could I ask...
hold on for a minute. I want to ask the doctor some questions. Why are these whales beaching themselves?
Well, the young man is not incorrect when he says that they are a defective element from a pod that was obviously traveling to the southern reaches somewhere in the Caribbean or along the coast of the Central American coast where much of the mating happens and a lot of the calving happens. But I would say that he's very, very harsh in his criticism of well-meaning, albeit...
Are they stupid?
Well, I don't want to call them stupid. I'm saying that they're pushing whales out to turn around and go back. So how is the lady's name Marjorie?
Yes.
How dumb is that? You know what I'm saying?
Right, but all I'm suggesting
a whale, you push it out and then it comes back.
Right.
You do look a little stupid.
That's what I'm saying. They look stupid putting a blanket on it.
All I'm suggesting is that in Massachusetts we have two great institutions working with marine life.
What makes the whale retarded?
Well, many times the mother whale has eaten bad plankton during pregnancy, and that will make a retarded whale.
All right, Marjorie, make a retarded whale.
That is correct. Well, what are you laughing at?
What? Excuse me?
What are you laughing at?
Sir, I'm just listening to you.
I'm a marine
on a highway in Maine. I'm not laughing at you, sir. I was listening to your conversation as best I can.
It's not unlike women who drink during pregnancy, is what I'm saying.
Eating bad plankton.
Yes, sir.
All right, Marjorie, thank you for your call.
Oh, you're welcome. You ought to check out the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute.
Yeah,
Bye.
I don't think very much of them.
Why?
There are a lot of crackpots.
Oh, that's not.
I think they are.
So.
Well, I've known. Do you know Dr. Wellington there?
No, I don't.
Okay, he is a real jackass. But
all right, thank you. 1-800-449-8686. We're talking to Jeff Dowder, who is in Massachusetts, as whales have beached themselves. He calls the people that are trying to push the whales back into the ocean idiots. It's kind of a sad thing to see these whales do this, but you say it's entirely natural.
Yes, sir, it is entirely natural, and it's part of the process of the pod weeding out the retard whales.
I'd like, Mr. Henry, if I could, to jump in.
This Dr. Wireman is a marine biologist?
Yes. The whales are not... in human society, we can put a retarded child in a sanitarium or in a lunatic asylum. But the whale obviously doesn't have that option. It is driven from the pod by other whales and beaches itself. Now, I will agree with the young man when he says those people in Massachusetts are a little stupid pushing whales back into the ocean when all they're going to do is turn around and come right back out.
But aren't those professionals?
The people that are pushing the whales into the ocean?
Yes, sir. Aren't those professionals? Aren't they affiliated with some kind of oceanographic institute?
No, these are just idiots that got out of their car and saw whales, and they're pushing them back in. And it's...
I think it's a shame, Mr. Henry, to also... we flew in from California last night to give people
a little bit of an idea of how to do things. A lot of people on the East Coast, because they don't have the same kind of surf that we have on the West Coast, by that I mean the good waves and everything, they don't see a lot of the sea life that we do. And it's something we're constantly having to do. I just flew in last night.
I understand you flew in last night. You've said that about 9 times, that you flew in last night.
Well, I understand that, but I flew in with Toby Bowe to try.
And who again is Toby Bowe?
He's a friend who studies whales, too.
He's a friend of yours, huh?
I don't know these gentlemen. Does he have a doctorate?
No, he doesn't have no doctorate, but you'll notice that whales rarely do this on the West Coast. And the reason why whales rarely do this on the West Coast is because they don't have as much bad plankton that the mothers eat to cause a retard whale.
Well, I've never heard anything like that, but it has a certain amount of what we call whaledom is really the easiest way to say it.
Whaledom.
Yeah.
All right, 1-800-449-8686, and I think I hear, I don't know where they are, but I'm listening to some of the whales that are off of the coast right now. Are they communicating? That's what I'm hearing right now.
That's right. That's a whale. They're going right now down to, they're going south, I think. And Toby Bowe's on the beach right now. We'll be looking at him and talking to him, too. But a lot of them...
sounds like there's a good crowd of them.
Yeah, it's a pretty good crowd now, but most of these idiots are going to try to roll them back in anyway, so we're just going to try to keep them from rolling them on out.
Yeah, Phil?
Yes, sir, Dr. Wireman.
I don't know who this guy is that you're talking to. I've been a marine biologist for the last 40 years. I work out of the Scripps Institute in Oceanside, California, and I will tell you that the whales have a highly defined society, and while it is true that defective whales are oftentimes pushed from the center pod, I've never heard of them called retard. And,
well, a lot of the whales are just saying, leave the retards on the beach.
What do you mean the whales are saying, leave the retards on the beach?
As they're going by.
Wait a minute, the whales that are traveling south?
Yes, sir.
Are saying, leave the retards on the beach.
Yes, sir. Toby Bowe's down there now in a mind meld.
Mind meld? Holy...
All right, 1-800-449-8686. The story and heartbreaking reversal of Monday's dramatic rescue of 46 beached pilot whales. I'm hearing whales, right?
Yes, sir.
And they're saying, leave the retards on the beach.
That's my understanding.
Well, I don't know what in sweet Jesus.
All right, in a dramatic reversal, 46 beached pilot whales officially abandoned all hope of saving the creatures. They just abandoned hope. They're not going to be able to save them. You're calling the people there in Massachusetts trying to save these whales
idiots. Just idiots. And they should leave them alone and let because we flew in from California.
Yeah, I know, late last night.
Yeah.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. It's kind of a sad story that's going on there in Massachusetts, but these whales apparently do this every so often. They beach themselves, and then the next thing you know, they're dead. You know, I don't know what you do with a beached whale either. Do you, if it doesn't want to go back in the water, do you just go ahead and anesthetize or euthanize it? I believe that's probably the answer. Jeff, what do we get out of whales again?
We get flubber, which is something the Japanese want.
We get flubber.
Or flubber, I don't know what it's called.
If I could...
Go ahead.
It's called blubber.
Well, what's flubber?
Flubber's that stuff from the movie, okay?
It's called blubber, and the Japanese like it for whatever, what they do with it. I don't know what they do with it.
They roll it up, play with it, or whatever. You can also burn it as fuel. But we'll get rubber...
It's called blubber, you dumbass.
All right, gentlemen, come on. You know, what I want to do is have some kind of a consistently intelligent conversation about the fate of these animals.
Well, I don't understand how I'm supposed to have an intelligent conversation with some dumbass who calls it flubber. Now,
well, you call me a dumbass if you want, but at least I'm not down there trying to roll the whales back in the ocean. which is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen. I flew in from California
late last night, right?
Yeah.
You've said that about 16 times, man. You're also showing a sort of chauvinistic attitude.
Well, they don't beaching themselves in California, that's for sure.
All right, well, we are talking about the beached whales and the attitude on your part that you might as well just let them die.
That is correct, sir. Let the whales die. I think we've seen too many Free Willy movies. I think we've seen too many. I think we've been to SeaWorld to see Shamu one too many times. I think we've, been to Marineland and the Seaquarium to see Lolita. To me, it's just a matter of going down to the beach, which Toby and I are going to do tomorrow after these retards who are trying to push them into the ocean clear off the beach, get back in their Winnebagos and start eating some of their macaroni and cheese and playing checkers and watching TV. We'll get down on the beach and just go ahead and put them out of their misery.
Well, how are you going to do that?
What do you mean you're going to put them out of their misery?
We'll just pop them. Put a cap in their ass. The whale hits the beach, you could cap its ass.
What do you mean cap its ass? Are you trying to tell me you're going to... This is a violation of federal law, Phil.
You're not going to be shooting any whales. Do you understand that?
Well, then I'm supposed to sit there and look some Massachusetts retard push it in? I got a .22 caliber. Also, Toby Bo's got a 9mm.
Boy, you're going to put a cap in a whale's ass.
Yeah. Better than that, the Japs harpoon them.
The Japanese are harpooning them, and it's a violation of international treaty. If you shoot a whale, you're breaking federal law.
Is that true, Mr. Henry?
What are you asking me for? I brought you on the show as the expert. I got 20 credits shy of my AA degree in marine biology.
Well, I would think that a whale would rather have a cap in his ass than have this.
Well, this cap his ass stuff to me, Phil, is a simple explanation of a man that doesn't know what he's talking about. These whales are obviously irritated by something in the water.
Well, these Massachusetts retards are making these poor whales like they have dresses on, putting a blanket. I'm capping that.
All right, thanks a lot, okay?
I'd like to say...
we could get a Kevorkian down there.
I'd like to...
Shut up.